All right, guys, here we are on day 5, right? We've gone through the 5 non cheesy, totally effective ways to bust out of your quarantine funk so you can feel like yourself again. Now, I've mentioned this every day with all of the 5 tips. We've been giving one tip a day. We're going to do the final tip today, that it is very important to feel the feels, right? It is really important for you to acknowledge any uncomfortable feelings that you're feeling. That's why we have them, right? Whether it's fear, frustration, anxiety, doubt, as long as you're at 51% more positive feelings than negative feelings for the majority of your life, we're good. But during this quarantine, it's really tricky, it's really difficult, and it's also easy to fall into the trap of kind of woe is me, letting the pity party happen. We talked about sucking on lemons. Sorry, my kids are watching Despicable Me, I think. Life gives you lemons, and it's not as easy as just making lemonade out of it. Sometimes we find ourselves just sucking on the lemons and really making our problems worse. So step 1 in this whole process is to acknowledge the feelings, feel them, go into your cave, however long it takes. Maybe it's a couple minutes, a couple hours, a couple days. And for me, it was a couple weeks. And I got into my story here throughout the week that I was really, really going through a downward spiral, both physically and mentally, for a couple weeks during the quarantine, just very, very overwhelmed. I had a bit of a health scare, and it really affected me mentally. And it was really, really hard to snap out of it. I'm typically a very joyful person, very positive. The glass is full, and I could not snap out of it. So being a health and wellness expert, I have, a ton of techniques at my fingertips. And I tried a lot of different things. So I narrowed it down to these top 5. And I also wanted to make sure to share with you guys the top 5 that not only worked most for me, and everything, different things work for different people, but I didn't want it to be the typical cheesy things that you already feel like you already know. Okay. So quick recap, day 1 on Monday, and you can scroll through Facebook to see the previous videos from the week to watch tips 1 through 4. Tip number 1 was help someone else. So if you go through that video, I tried to keep these all to about 10 minutes. You'll see how it's when you help someone else, you feel instantly better. It's almost like a placebo effect, right? You don't even have to take anything. You just help someone else and you genuinely start to feel better naturally. So in video 1 with tip number 1 on Monday, I go through a ton of ideas. And if you have other ideas as well, whether you're helping someone locally or someone far away, let us know. Post in the comments either here or in that video, and I would love to hear how you are helping people and how it's making you feel. Tip number 2 was to commit to finishing something. So commit to something and finish it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be health and wellness related, like a 21-day fix or a 30-day, Whole30 or a 5-day detox, whatever. It doesn't have to be health and wellness related. Again, if that's something you're interested in and you need support, you know where to find me. But it could even be a house project. It could be yard work. It could be a puzzle. I explained to you guys that I read a nonfiction book, which I have no idea the last nonfiction book I ever read in my life. I always read books about like wellness, mindset, mindfulness, business. So I was proud of myself. I finished Where the Crawdads Sing. I finished it yesterday. My husband has taken upon juggling. That's his quarantine goal. He could juggle 3, but now he's working on 4. So that was day 2. Day number 3 was writing it all out. And this isn't like a gratitude journal. It was freestyle writing and really getting out those feelings and also allowing yourself a good 15 to 20 minutes. And again, it could be in like a cute notebook from Urban Outfitters. That's where mine was from like 7 years ago, or a spiral bound notebook, whatever, a legal pad. And it wasn't until minutes 17 to 20 that I really uncovered what it was that was blocking me and what was making me feel these just really uncomfortable feelings. For me personally, was way too long. And we all have our own threshold for pain. And it was really impacting my family. And I really, really wanted to snap out of it. So for me, after about, 17 minutes or so, when I was journaling, just freestyle writing, that's when really the solution started to appear. The cause and the solution started to appear. And then yesterday we talked about your in the moment mantra. Again, I didn't want this to be cheesy. And when it comes to mantras, people might think that that's a little woo woo or yogi. Hold on a sec. But what happens is sometimes we tell ourselves that we're going to do something, but then in the moment it gets difficult. And so we do the more comfortable thing rather than doing what we said we were going to do. So instead, it's coming up with something that would trigger you in the moment to react in a way that you would rather react. And of the five, I would say days 4 and 5 are the trickiest. So yesterday was tricky. And I gave you a couple ideas of mantras that you could come up with in the moment when you're starting to have a feeling of doubt, worry, fear, anxiety, not enoughness. I gave you a couple examples of mantras yesterday, and you can come up with your own as well. It doesn't, like, different sayings and words work for different people. So that was a quick recap. And we also talked about, so I have this quarantine comeback starter kit. So all you have to do is head over to WholeHardy.com and click planning guide at the top, and that's going to get you. I'll actually put the URL down here too. So basically what this is, it gives you your first steps in really igniting what it is and who you want to be when you come out of this quarantine. And you might be thinking, oh, all I have to do is just, they're going to release the quarantine. Maybe it'll be a phased approach, and then I'll get excited again. Then I'll start taking action. But if you continue within this funk and continue these like downward spirally feelings for a prolonged period of time, it's going to be really, really hard to just bounce back in May, right? So this is and I'll put it in here, it's the quarantine comeback starter kit, and it's free. So let me put that in the comments here, and I would love to know what you guys think about that. So that's yours for free. All right, guys, so let's get into tip number 5. So the final tip in non-cheesy, totally effective ways to help you snap out of your quarantine funk so you can feel like yourself again is to tell someone. So I really grew up not always, showing my heart on my sleeve from the negative side. If I was feeling positive, then 100% I would be showing that radiantly. But when it came to like being down or negative feelings, that just wasn't my like persona. And it just didn't feel natural to me to share with people when I was feeling down. And I really grew up that way. And during this time, over the past couple weeks when I was feeling down, I was more vocal about it than anything I've ever been vocal about in my life before, ever. I remember when my second son was born, we had a really big scare. And I was like borderline uterine rupture, and it just made me cry for weeks on end. And I just didn't really tell anybody. And it wasn't that I was trying to hide it. I wasn't called to share. It just wasn't in me to be like, I need to tell somebody about this. I don't know. That's just not how I was wired. But for some reason with this funk, I have just like let it out. I let my close friends know, my family knew, my church group knew, and that helped me the most. So I'm saving the best for last here, because telling someone and being really open about it, when like even talking to my husband about it, I feel like I started off being like, oh, I don't know, like something's wrong. And then like I got like very, very clear and said, I don't like feeling like this. Like this is really annoying. Like I'm done. I just don't know how to snap out of it. So it's like step 1, really acknowledging it and naming it and knowing what it is. And step 2, knowing that it's okay, that nothing is wrong with you. You are normal. You have feelings. You're a human being. If you did not have feelings, you would probably be a psychopath. So there's nothing wrong with feeling these feelings. And then just being open about it. And like Brene Brown says, right, the vulnerability, it doesn't mean to air your dirty laundry to everyone you know, just the people who deserve to hear it, the people who have earned the right to hear your story, the people who you're most comfortable with sharing, A, and B, the people who you feel you're truly going to get the best support from. So that could be someone in your direct family, it could be a spouse, it could be your parents, siblings, best friends, maybe part of a community group that you're in. So that's where I started, and it felt so much better. So on top of that, if you feel like it's worse than that, then something that you feel like you are going to snap out of, if this has been prolonged, obviously seek professional help, right? I gotta say that. So if there's, any sort of therapist or doctor who you feel like you need to see, then definitely by all means get that started immediately. If you feel like this is a temporary or situational funk that you are in, then I am here for you. So I offer, you guys probably know this, I mention it, I offer free 30-minute wellness breakthrough calls, and I would love to chat with you if you feel like you're not ready to share with anybody else this funk that you're in, whether you're just frustrated or sad or angry or really overwhelmed, right? If you're working full time and you have kids at home and you're trying to keep them alive, feed them, clean up after them, entertain them, educate them, and work a full-time job, I mean, it's madness, right? So that was definitely one of the ingredients to my recipe of funkness. So I would love to help you really get clear on what it is. Like, we could name it together, what it is that you are feeling. And then from there, devise a plan together to really help you break out of this funk so that you can have your quarantine comeback. If you wanted to start with the freebie, just watching this 10-minute video training and then doing the PDF workbook along with it, go for it. If you are craving some interaction and you want additional support one-on-one on top of that, you and I will have either a FaceTime or a Zoom call, totally free, 20 to 30 minutes, however much time you got, and we'll just talk through it. And it won't really be it's not that I'm like a sounding board, and it's not that I'm going to give you all the answers. I go through the Duke model for integrative wellness and behavior change. So there is like a symphony of questions that we will go through so that you will leave feeling like A, you are perfect the way you are, and B, you will have 1 to 2 crystal clear action items by the end of the call that you could start taking immediately, right? So it doesn't have to be on a Monday, so you're starting fresh, or if we connect on a Thursday, you don't have to wait until Monday to do these things. So let me know. Either I can even I'll put my email here, hello@wholehardy.com. I have a link, a scheduling link that you can go through, but I really like the one-on-one communication a lot better, where we can say, like, what's better for you? You might tell me that, middle of the day or first thing in the morning or late afternoon. So I really like getting a vibe for what works best for you rather than telling you to go to a website and picking a date and a time. All right. So that was the 5 days, guys, the 5 non-cheesy, totally effective ways to bust out of your quarantine funk so you can feel like yourself again. Again, you can scroll through each of these videos and rewatch them. Again, I try to keep them to about 10 minutes. The last 2 days went a little bit longer. And if you go to this link here, bit.ly Inner Boss Guide, that's your quarantine comeback starter kit. So watch the 10-minute training video, go through the PDF workbook. I think it's maybe like 6 pages or so, and really go through and get clear on who you want to be coming out of this quarantine, what you need to hold on to, what you need to let go of, why it's important to you. And then you get to choose from the Duke Wheel of Health. There's about 8 to 10 different categories on there, and you get to choose what category you want to focus on first. So you get to do a little assessment to decide where you want to start and what your action items are. Okay, so you can either go to bit.ly, bit.ly/Inner Boss Guide, or just hop on over to WholeHardy.com and click Wellness Planning Guide at the top. All right, guys, I hope that these 5 tips have helped you throughout this week. And if we are stuck in quarantine in May, you know that you can come back here at any time to get these tips. And again, email me hello@WholeHardy.com if you want your free 20, 30-minute phone call so we can talk through what you're going through and help you get out of it. All right. All right. Let us create a healthier mind to help you create your healthiest body. All right. It starts from the inside out, and I'm here to help you with that in any way, shape, or form. All right, guys, have an awesome weekend. It's got to be happy hour somewhere. Go get that wine, and I'll see you back here next time. Bye.